Hi guys, so I hope you're all doing well, staying out of the heat or whatever horrible weather might be going on in your area at this time. And if not, hopefully you guys are having some great weather, but it just seems like relentless. Anyhow, okay, so today I want to review this 42 oven baked clay set from Arteza. This is something I picked up myself, I want to say even almost like 2 months ago, maybe even longer. But it was always out of stock. Like as soon as I got it, you guys, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, I want to see that in action. I'm like, yeah, of course. Or can you please review it? Of course, that's why I picked it up. And because I'm curious too, obviously, and I would like to review it. And it was sold out. And it literally came in today, I think. Maybe the last couple days I kind of check periodically because I want to review it. And today it was on their site along with another kit that's a little bit larger. It's the same amount of clay, but it has more tools in it. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that, and I'll have links in the description box. They will be affiliate links. I appreciate if you use those to make your purchases, as they will make a small commission and I can continue getting things like this to try out, right? And so I really appreciate it. And I do also want to mention there's going to be a discount code in there, so check that out. It'll description box again right under the video here. So this is interesting stuff. So what I wanted to do, and initially I was gonna do as soon as I got it in, was to make incense holders. And like I said, it's sold out, so I'm like, I don't want to show it off if you can't even get it, right? And then what's funny about, like I said, it just came back in stock. Lo and behold, Arteza put out a video earlier today on polymer clay, and I was like, how does that happen? Because even the other day there was something else I wanted to review that I had picked up myself not too long ago, and literally that same day, so I don't know, we're just like on the same wavelength or something, I don't know. Or maybe it's because they come back in stock and that's when I get it, and that's when they also make their videos, you know? It was a set of earrings, I think, that they made that was kind of odd, but it can, you know, you have an idea of how to use the clay. But if you haven't done polymer clay items or using it before, I'll just go over it really quickly. Obviously, it's an oven baked clay, so it doesn't air dry. You can let it sit out, it's not going to dry. It might dry out in that it'll become more like crumbly, but it's not cured, okay, if you just leave it out. So just to know that, you have to bake it. It is made of like a polymer material, obviously, and just really cool stuff. So I was looking forward to this because in this kit there are 42 pieces. Now I did mention when I opened it, I was like, oh, these are, as you can see, the bricks are thin. So normally with Fimo it might be a little bigger, it's a little bit thicker. You know, depending on where you get it, it might be $2 or $3 a brick, and then they're on sale all the time, and or not all the time, but here and there, right? But what I do know about this one is it feels soft. So I feel like it's just a lot softer. I'll see when we get there. But it seems easier to manipulate because the other ones, they're thicker. So when you break off pieces, you have to, you know, warm it up. It's hard for me, and I don't know, it makes my hands hurt. So, and this is not just because I'm older and, oh, my hands hurt. It's always been that way for me. So it shouldn't be that hard, right? The clay should be fresh, you know, from the manufacturer, that it should be kind of softish, not super, super hard. And just because it's hard doesn't mean you can't use it, but you really have to warm it up, really have to work it. If you have a pasta machine, which I have a pasta, like I have like 3 of them for polymer clay, run it through the air as you can, and that'll help warm it up and soften it too, or just do it by hand. Another thing I do, and you might think that's weird, is I will sit on it and put it in your back pocket and just, like, you know, watch TV or do whatever you're doing to warm it up. Something to warm it up. You can even put it, kind of tuck it up in here in this bra area here. Sometimes I'll tuck it in there and let it warm up, right? You just want to get it warm. So it might be too much information, but that's how I do it. So it's just, and it's usually not a huge brick, it's just a piece of it. I'll just kind of put it in there and let it warm up and got some body heat on it. So I'm going to try out a couple things. In my mind, I was going to, like I said, make an incense holder. And what I mean by that is like the long incense sticks. And I had seen some at a local store, and they were really cute, and they were like 25, 30 bucks each. And I was like, ooh, no. Because it was just a little thing like this. And it wasn't even the kind that it might hold or catch like the ashes as they fell, right? A long one. It was just like a little cute thing. You just decorate and you put your little incense in there. So I thought we'll do that today. So obviously you can do lots of things with polymer clay. People make jewelry out of them. They make like little home decor items, little decorative things, you know, however you want to use it. I'm just going to, I think, make some flowers, because that's kind of my favorite thing to do. And so what I'm going to do is dig through here. So obviously you see there's tons of colors. I mean, from blues, greens, pinks, obviously white. This one's called zinc white, so I'm assuming that's the whiter white that they might have. I don't know. Lots of different yellows. You can see even just here, there's already, this one's more of a neon color. Oranges of different tones. Oh, this is so pretty. So they do not sell these individually, just so you know. But you know, I mean, that's up to you how you want to handle that, but this tomato red is like just really pretty, like kind of almost terracotta-ish. This is gorgeous, really punch pink. Then they have peach. So what I always look for is what I would consider skin tones. This is copper and it has like a mica, it has a little mica in it. I don't know if, it's hard to see that. So you can also mix your micas into this, but you would have to really, really mix it in. So that's up to you if you want to take the time to do that with any of the colors that don't have like a shimmer. Lots of pinks and purples, royal blue. I mean, I'm just all different greens of different sorts. I'm wondering if they have different, not textures, but like the copper had the metallic in it, you know what I'm saying? So emerald green, fuchsia. So here's another one that's titanium white. So a little bit different from that zinc white, and I don't see a huge difference, but this one might be a little less white. I don't know. No, actually this one looks brighter when I look at them like this, but not a huge difference in those two, but you always need a lot of white, so I don't mind having a couple of those. This is noir, and then a pretty teal. Look how pretty that is. And the colors are gorgeous. Sunset yellow. Obviously you can see on their site when you click over on the links there, you can see the different colors, but lots of colors. I think the only one that I see so far that's metallic is that copper one. Dolphin gray. This is an interesting color. Olive green. Okay, so I am going to pick out 2 greens, a dark one and a light one, and 2 pinks, like a dark one and a light one, and we're just going to make like a flower, of course. So I will pick those colors out and I'll be right back. Okay, so... Oh, I didn't see this pretty pink, blush pink. So I chose, not those, these 2 and these 2. We'll talk about that in a minute. The kit also comes with some tools, which is nice. And like earring findings and like pin backs and it looks like keychain findings, a little barrette, some little beads, all kinds of other little things. Cell phone holders, you know, the little thing, tag, I don't know what you want to call it. The keychain thing that you put on your cell phone. Let me put these things to the side. So I should have cleaned this off. Whenever I work with clay, I always like to work on something like this. This is literally just a piece of cardstock, and I coated it or ran it through a Scotch laminator. And on the side I have a cute little Hello Kitty, but I'm gonna use this side. And I usually clean it off with with alcohol, which I have right here. Just because polymer clay is kind of sticky and it leaves residue. You can also use obviously your glass surface or a craft mat, whatever. I just feel like it's easier to work on something like this than something that's a little bit porous like the mat that I have under here, like a self-healing mat. So I'm gonna close up a little bit. Sorry, that was a little bit fast. Let me put this stuff aside. So to bake it, I'm gonna read the instructions obviously when we get there. And of course you can do tons of things with this stuff. What I'm gonna do is make a couple of little rolls. What are they called? Canes is what people would normally call them. And I'm just trying to see there's tape on here. Oh, I see those 2 pieces of tape holding this shut. So I do feel like it's very soft. I'm trying to see where to open this from. Okay, there's a couple little lines. I don't need a lot. I'm gonna try and see if this is the color hot pink. And like I said, you gotta warm it up. It's very soft. Look at that. It's almost like gum already. So that is pretty much ready. The reason you do this is to get it ready to manipulate, but that was super ready. Let me open this up. Again, there's little pieces of tape keeping them closed up. So this will be interesting to see how it works with a cane. This is a very simple cane. I'm just going to wrap one color over the other. Super simple. But we can do lots of things, especially to make flowers. I mean, there's so many different canes you can make that are just gorgeous. So I'm going to get twice as much of this pink, and this is bubblegum pink. And like I said, this stuff doesn't harden until you bake it, so you can keep this for a long time. I usually just keep them like in a Tupperware type thing, or like a, what's the thing called? Like a Gladware or something, because I like to, you can just keep this, and the next time you need a cane that has like these colors, you have it ready. So it's not the biggest deal. So I'm just rolling a little something like this, like a little tube. Okay. And the reason I say it'll be interesting is because canes, normally you want them to be a little stiffer. So we'll see what happens. And as far as the tools, I don't think it has a rolly tool, which is interesting. Almost every kit comes with a rolling tool because sometimes you need to flatten things out. But I want this to be just as long as this guy. Okay, that's about the length I need, but I need a little bit wider. What do I have here that I can roll with? A pen would work. Let me see here. You just need something to help you roll out. Now, I have tons of polymer clay tools. I don't need to do this. I can run it through my pasta machine too, but I'm just going to do this. Because you also want it to be kind of, what's that word? Like about the same. You don't want it to be all wonky. I don't know if I have enough here for this. And you guys already know how I do. Good enough is good enough. I think that might be a little bit too much of this pink. I'm going to take this down a little bit. I want the ratio so you can still see this bright pink on the outer edge of our flower. This is going to make flower petals, so hopefully if you know a little about polymer clay, that might make sense for you. So I reduced that probably by a third. I took about a third of it away. Okay. And like I said, I don't need things to be perfect. I'm just going to wrap this, and then we'll cut away the excess of it. Okay, we can use the little tools that are in here. I have knife tools that you can definitely use, but let me see what's in here. A lot of interesting stuff, but basically this little guy can help us just cut that away. And I'm going to use that excess to tuck it over here, because we want to wrap this whole thing, right? And the reason I don't mind it being messy is because it's not the biggest deal for this project. Okay, so now I'm just going to roll this. So what rolling it does is it brings those colors together, you know, like bonding them a little better, but you're also reducing the size of it. So as you can see, it's getting longer and thinner here. Now I'm going to stop at one point, and then I'm going to keep going, and then I'm going to come back and I'll show you what I mean by that. I am probably going to get one of my other tools, because all of this, oh, this is interesting. This has some fun stuff, but yeah, I don't think it's going to give me the cut I would like for it to give me. So if I cut this off the side, see how it just like squished it? I need an actual knife. I will grit that right now. So this is just a blade. This might be like Sculpey brand, I don't even know, but it's a big old long blade. But you can use a razor blade. You can use, they have smaller ones that come with like other kits, if you purchase kits here and there. I'm gonna just slice that. So I have this that's kind of larger. I'm gonna reduce this a little bit more, because I want to have like 3 sizes of petals. So I'm gonna have large petals, or larger from that, a little medium size from this, and then some smaller ones from this, so that I keep going. And this last piece, you don't have to do anything with it. You can keep it for another day, or however you want to do that. Okay, and I think each of my flowers is going to have 5 petals. Again, don't throw this stuff away. You can use it for different things. You need a filler. Like sometimes I'll make bases for like my pens, my polymer clay pens. And I just need clay that I push all together, and then you cover it, or you paint it, or you do what you're going to do. So you don't need the clay to look like 100%. All right, so here we have, this is our larger one. I'm just going to cut 1, 2, 3, 4. That one got a lot fatter. 5. All right. Another thing you can do before you cut the petals is come in here and pinch this to be a more of a petal shape. Like if you wanted to already have a petal shape, you can do that down the whole thing and then cut it, but it's not a big deal. Okay. So for this project, what I was thinking about doing is pinching one end and possibly making the other end a little bit. What's really nice about this one, I mean, it does get fingerprints, but not as badly, or maybe that's just me, because it's so soft. So I'm going to do one. Again, I'm just pinching one end, kind of flattening it out. Maybe we'll do a little more texture with our tools in just a minute. That's 2. As I'm working with this, I'm like, I'll see what I end up doing, because I feel like maybe I should make these a little more fun by taking something like this and like pulling the color in, kind of blending the color a little bit, messing with the petals a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just doing a little something different to give a little more texture. I don't know. So I'm kind of flattening it out and pinching. And again, I think it'd be fun to kind of just bring in some of the color. So I'll do that to these other two. And this one, as you can see, is not very perfect on this side, but it's better on this side. So just use the side that looks nicer on. And again, just kind of messing with the color, pushing that in. Okay, I'm going to do these two like these guys, and I'll be right back. Put these larger ones to the side. And we'll probably still manipulate those a little bit. I'm going to go to the little ones, and I'm just going to show you. It's going to be the same thing. One, I'm going to cut 5. And again, just kind of squeeze them down, and I'll do the same thing for the middle size ones. Okay, and I will be right back. Same thing, but 5 little ones and 5 from this mid-size cane, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little chunk of that middle piece, not too big, and I'm just gonna kind of round it. And that's what I'm gonna build my little flower on. So just like this, I'm gonna take some of the small petals and just put them on here. There's one. This one looks crazy, but that's okay. And we'll manipulate them in just a minute, but I'm just trying to place them to begin with. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this clay is very, very, very soft. So like I said, if you have like problems with harder clays, this might be the clay for you. It's very soft, very fun to use. Again, I'm not concerned with fingerprints. It is leaving fingerprints, but I've never been super concerned with that, but you guys know me. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to take the next set and kind of open it up just a little bit. They need to be a little bit pudgier. There. Just flatten it out a little bit. Again, there are so many ways to do stuff like this. Like, this is just something kind of simple, beginner, cute. I hope you guys think it's cute. Number 5 is to flatten out just a little bit. Let me see if my last ones are okay. So again, if they get too soft for you, you can put them in the fridge. I remember I used to make like little cakes, and they're so cute, the little cakes, but once you're working with them, they might warm up, and when you go to slice it, you want it to be not warm because you want it to slice through it and to look really cute. So just pop it in the fridge for a couple hours before finishing up. So I'm happy with that, but again, you can do lots of stuff to it to manipulate it how you want. Okay, I'm gonna put this to the side for right now, and it needs a little rest anyway. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm gonna soften up a little bit of green of both of these colors, and I'll be right back. So this time I'm going to be even less formal with this. A little bit of that lighter green, which is the color Fresh Green, and then I have a darker green that is Emerald Green. And I'm just going to flatten it by hand here. And I'm just going to put this on the outside. Now for this one, even if a little bit is not completely covered in that green, that's fine. But as you can see, as I'm rolling it, it starts getting a little more green. I do want these just to be like bigger leaves, so I don't want to reduce it too much. I'm just going to wipe my hands here. Got a little bit of that green transfer to my hands. Another tip when you're using clay, always start with the lighter colors and then go to darker colors, because you can definitely put the darker colors onto your project if you don't mean to, like on the next clay color. So again, 5. And these are going to make leaves. I'm going to squeeze them to make them kind of a lot larger. Again, this is a simple cane. You can always come in and put like a piece of green down the center, make it look really pretty. And I'm just going to kind of manipulate these a little more so they look more like leaves. Something like that. And I will be right back when I do all 5. Okay, so I have my little leaves down here. I'm sorry they're out of frame. So like I said, what I like to do is bake these on a piece of paper, cardstock, whatever paper. It's not going to burn. It's going to be very low, but you also want to be very careful. So I'm just going to get a piece of scratch paper here. And you can bake it on foil. The reason I just don't like that is because it ends up shiny. Whatever's touching the foil gets really shiny, and that's not my favorite, but you can do whatever you like. Like I said, whatever is left over you can use for different things. So I'm just going to take this little piece of leftover and just place it down. I want it to be even, but I'm not too concerned. Okay, and we're going to take that to start building out our little base with leaves. And the leaves don't have to be in a circle like the rest of it. I'm just trying to see what I'm... Let me bring my little flower back. Yeah, I might not even take 5 leaves. Maybe I'll just do 3 that are all kind of out here. Oh, that's cute and little. Okay, so let's do that. Now, you can use polymer clay glue, TLS, whatever, that little translucent liquid Sculpey down here. What I like to do is just kind of rough it up. I'll put this to the side. Just give it some, like, texture. So when you bring in the other item, give that a little texture. They will touch each other and stick that way. And this stuff is, like I said, very kind of wet feeling, so I have a feeling they will come together pretty easily. Now I'm pushing down a little bit, not too hard. I can pick it up and kind of get those to come together. Trying to keep that a little bit flat, that way when we make our project, it won't fall over, right? So I think that's what I'm gonna do. A little incense holder, it looks just like this. And so there's a couple ways you can clean up your fingerprints if you don't like that, if you want it to look more perfect. Of course, you'd be more careful than I was as you were working through it, but you can always come in with your tools and add a little texture, add some little lines maybe coming out from the bottom of your little leaves. You would take a little alcohol, usually, and you just kind of rub with that. And you don't have to use your hand, you can use another tool or something, but just trying to help you rub away some of those fingerprints. That's up to you. I think I'm going to leave it like that. And what I'm going to do is in this very center, give us a little pokes, just to give a little texture. And the last thing we have to do is make a hole with our incense. So I have my incense here, and you can do it however you want. You want the hole going straight up and down, you want it angled. I do straight up and down with something like this since it doesn't have a plate or anything else. If you angle it as it burns, it's going to fall everywhere else. So this way it falls right pretty much on top of itself, but that's up to you. So I just kind of push that down as much as I think is going to hold it. That's pretty good. Kind of mess with the hole a little bit because not every incense is going to be just as small as this one. Maybe the next one's a little bit fatter or however. So I kind of just jiggle the hole just a little bit. So I'm going to put this in the oven. I'm going to manipulate a little bit more though until I'm happy. And try to see, do I want another little... I don't know. Maybe we'll leave it like that. We'll leave it like that. Okay. What does it say here? It says here, nothing. Usually it's on the package. So let's read over here. Knead the clay until it's soft and smooth. Shape the clay. Yes. Bake an oven-safe glass or metal surface, which I was just going to say the next thing I do is I put this on a cookie sheet or glass, you know, whatever, at 325 for 15 to 30 minutes. So that is much higher than most clays. They're usually like at 225. So I am afraid to go 325. That seems really high. Do not overbake. Please note the oven temperature may vary. I'm going to split the difference between the 225 and 325. I'm going to go 275, okay? And I'm going to do 30 minutes only because this is thick. Okay, so I'm gonna do 275 for 30 minutes. I know that's different than what it says, but I feel like that's really high. So I will be back. If it starts looking like it's browning, then that is not a good thing. But I'm gonna put it in the oven just like this on my little paper on a cookie sheet. Again, 275 for about half an hour. I'll check it every few minutes, so like 10 minutes I'll look and see what it looks like. And I'll be right back. Just want to check in with you guys. I have it in my little Wolfgang cooker here, and again, like I said, 275. It's been about 10 minutes and it looks great, so I'm gonna let it keep baking. So what you would normally want to do is just let it cool down in the oven. Just, you know, obviously the oven turns off. It's been about 25 minutes and I had it at the lower 275. I kicked it up to 300 just after the first 15 minutes because I figured it was looking okay. So I have a feeling if you do bake it at 325, it'll probably be okay. It's just that's such a huge difference from the other polymer clays. I didn't want to burn it, but obviously I would assume that they know what they're talking about, so it's fine. I just didn't want it to burn. And so it's still pretty hot. But normally just leave it in your oven or wherever you have it, and let it chill or cool off in there. I don't want to say chill, because sometimes if you have a bigger project, if you move it from the heat all the way, you know, something cold, like right now I have my AC blowing. This isn't too bad because I did leave it alone for about 5 minutes before I took it out of the oven. You normally want to just let it cool completely in the oven after you've turned it off, so it cools down slowly instead of like a rapid cool down, because sometimes it might crack, and I haven't had that happen. People say that happens, so I just want to pass that information on to you guys. But again, I normally leave it in the oven, so I guess I haven't really, you know. But again, this has been cooling in the oven for about 5 minutes, so it's still pretty warm. It has a nice like rubbery texture. It's different. I did want to show you a couple other ones that I made. Like this is probably from Fimo or Sculpey, I don't know, but a little bit different. Again, this just came out of the oven, so I do have to let it kind of cool off to see if it has a different texture. But as you can see, this is another one that I made not too long ago. Let me see, where's my incense stick? And then I'll show you one other one. So really easy to work with in that it is very soft. Now, if you are used to like Fimo, it's super stiff, right? So that's one thing. Sculpey's a little bit in between. It's a little bit softer than Fimo, but it's still pretty, this is another one I made. Pretty firm. This stuff is pretty soft. You can put it in the fridge in between if you're making like canes or something where you're doing a lot of work. You can put it in between, put it in the fridge so it stays a little bit firmer instead of getting so soft into your hands. Also, they're under a ton of lights right now, so I think that's another reason why it was a little softer. But like right now, I haven't manipulated this in a while and it's a little firmer than when I was working with it. So again, temperatures, all that stuff really depends. This is another one I made. I made this little butterfly from hand, from some canes, and then the little hole is right there. So like I said, just and this is kind of like the clump of clay I was talking about. If you had some leftovers, just clump it up, and then on the outside put the clay color you do want. So in the middle, it's just leftover clay that you couldn't use, but no one knows that, right? Because it's in the center there. And then just did some little curly cues. So today's project was super basic, really cute, functional. Put our little guy in there. Oop, he's still a little bit soft. There we go. And let's let him dry up. One other thing people like to do when they finish up is, after it's obviously completely cooled, you can sand it if you don't like the fingerprints. And I don't know how you would sand this guy, but people do that. They're, you know, they have that skill. I'm not great at that. And then you can also coat it, right? So I leave mine pretty much matte, just the way you see. I kind of prefer that. But this stuff, triple thick, people love it, love it, love it for this kind of thing. It's inexpensive. It's a huge bottle. I guess you can probably find a smaller bottle, but I have this big, huge one. Sculpey has their own glaze, which I like too. It's very thin. It's almost like water, like liquid. You just dip a brush in there and put it on after it's completely cold. This stuff, triple thick, you know, some people like to use 1 coat, 2 coats, 3 coats, however many coats you like to make things look shiny. Lots of things you can do. So yeah, so that's my experience with it right now, initial, you know, out of the box. I'll have some pictures for you guys. I will have the links in the description box, again with a discount code if you're interested, now that it's back in stock. Oh, before I go, I did want to mention there's another shimmer one in there. It's the gold. So the gold and copper. I don't see that there's like a silver or anything else. So the gold and copper have the mica in there. And yeah, so I just wanted to mention that. All right, guys, I will see you all at the next one. Bye now.